totally forgot to add TikTok to the social list, but there is its own command. I went to bed so late last night. I was on that app for hours. The link will be below the link is below the stream. It also has its own command, but I forgot to add it to the socials command. That's unfortunate. Dude, there are so many. So I was trying to I'm still trying to get a general idea of what the hell goes on, because it definitely has its own sort of culture and stuff. But also there are, I'm trying to see what you can do with all the editing features, the effects, and all this stuff. Just how the actual creation of the stuff works. And it's actually pretty intuitive and easy, but there's just a lot you can do. So I was just having fun going through the filters and stuff, and messing around with different things. But I went to bed entirely too late. I was like, geez, I should do this on stream. Now it's something you could never do. You'd have to have oh, cool. Let's go to message. You'd have to capture your screen to do it, but it's pretty ridiculous. Dan, thank you for the raid. We just started. Welcome though. I still got to I still got to do my nails. They're a mess. They're a total mess. But I appreciate you bringing everybody over. How about this? I promise you that I just did a Bill Clinton impression. Bill Clinton is still I was born in 1987. When I think of a politician saying something, I still think of Bill Clinton and this move. So it's just, I'm pretty sure it'll be that way forever. But I promise you, I pledge to you that if you stick around through this ridiculous process, not ridiculous because it takes so long, but may seem weird, that you will enjoy the music that is the result of it. And I will do this as fast as possible. And you may say, but Schnaff, how can you guarantee that? What do you have to lose? How about this? If you don't like the music, you can go online and spread horrible rumors about me. How about that? They don't even have to be true. You can make them true. You can be like, he lied to us. He's a liar and a politician. And I'll accept it. So, Kazi, thank you for gifting that sub to Dan for a total of 100 subs in the channel. 100 gifted subs from Kazi. I appreciate it. Also, one of the top tweet likers and retweeters. What's up, Dragon? That's right, I'm a liar and a politician. It's what I do best. I can't stand politics and politicians. All right, Alambradas Music. Hello. You want some engaging nail content? Okay, that was the really rough nail file. That gets everything sharp and roughly taken care of. This is the same nail file, just worn down for way longer, so it's actually smooth. This fills in all the major gaps. super exciting, riveting. Thumb. This is a very important process. Without this, there's a few things that determine the sound that comes out of the instrument, and this is a major part of that. This is like the first part of the chain in a certain sense. This is what comes in direct contact with the thing that ends up making the sound. So, the way these nails are shaped, the consistency of them, actually, which is, that's actually a bizarre one. So if I, let's say I put super glue on my nails, for those who are wondering. Loctite in particular. If I do that and it doesn't harden enough, no matter what the no matter how smooth or what the angle is, it always has this thin sound to it. And I'm not exactly sure why, but I do know that it's the case. It's totally clear. It's just strange. I don't know if anybody has any ideas on why that may be. Hola, Gravito. ¿Qué pasa? But the harder the nail is, or really the harder the object is that comes in contact with the string, the actual it's almost the opposite of what you may think. It's like the softer and rounder and like darker the tone is. We've talked about this before. We could actually prove it. We did it on a stream one time where we looked at the we actually looked at the sound that you can see using an equalizer. And when I played with the flesh of my fingers, this like the softest thing I could really think of to play with, you could actually see that there was less of the lower end of things. No, for you guys, it's over here. Less of the lower end of things and more of the higher end, which is what makes things brighter. And so it seems to be the same, that like just seems to be a thing. And I just don't know why. It seems counterintuitive. In fact, so counterintuitive that the whole reason I brought it up in the first place, a month ago or whatever it was because people were talking about how the sound of playing with the flesh of your fingers is so warm and soft and round, and I was like, it's not. It's literally just not, and like it's not even an opinion. It's just not. It's why I'll never play. I actually don't really like the sound very much like that. So I'll be using nails till the day I die, unless something crazy happens. Yeah, I don't worry. I'll play music. I swear this is a music stream. And also, do some other stuff. What is your nail process? What do you put on them? I tried acrylic, but they ended up making my actual nails even weaker. Okay, so there's two things. I used to do acrylics. I used to do my own acrylics. It took a long time. It was messy and it smelled terrible. The fumes were really bad. Now I put super glue on my nails, just super glue. It's way simpler, way quicker, way easier. It's just better in every way. There's no need to do acrylics. The thing with putting anything on your nails like that is that it will make your nails weaker when the stuff isn't on your nails. But my plan is essentially for the rest of my life to always have glue on my nails. Like if you're gonna put them on, what's gonna make it so that why would you ever not have them on going forward? If you're gonna do something unnatural to your nail, why would you ever? I use glue, but acrylic mess it up. The glue will mess it up too, and not all the glues are created equal. Which I was actually kind of surprised about, but I've tried a ton of glues, more than I can remember. But I settled on Loctite super glue. Okay, wood glue probably wouldn't be good. I would not recommend wood glue. And again, I'd actually not recommend anything but this one type of glue. A lot of the glues, like the way they I'm not exactly sure of like you could say the chemistry involved, but one of the big things I saw that was actually very bizarre to me, just something I didn't expect, was how much other glues crack and shatter. So I don't mean like you hit a nail and it breaks. I don't mean it lifts up or wears away against the string. I mean just naturally, as your fingernail grows and moves out, everything splinters and you get these cracks that start to grow and these like cracked web formations just appear, and eventually the thing just like crumbles off. This never does that, and as long as you prep the nail properly, they just last forever. Unless you do like a major like hit your finger against something. But what's nice about the glue is that it's like a first line of defense. I haven't broken a nail once since I did this, and it's been like, I don't know, before I started teaching, it's been at least 8 or 9 years. I haven't broken a nail. And most of these nails right now haven't been completely bare in a while. So like what I do is when it grows out and like up to here, this part gets exposed, I just fill it back in. And you just continue that process and your nail feels the same. It's like, it saved a lot of time and headache and hassle and work. It just, because if not, and if I actually don't put it thick enough, the strings will still wear away on my nails. Polisher, nope, just the glue. The brand is Loctite. They have 2 different versions. I mean, they have a lot of versions in terms of how to dispense it, but they have a gel one and the normal liquid one, and I use the liquid one. I still got to do that video, that nail tutorial guide. I did a stream one time because I broke a nail right before a stream, so I was like, you know what, we're gonna do this, and I just streamed the process on one of my nails. The thumbnail had chipped off, so I had to do the whole thing, and I showed the process. It was exhilarating, as you could imagine. So, okay, we're almost at the moment of truth where you decide if I'm a lying politician weasel. Or if I'm a nice, trustworthy guy. I know, the tension's mounting. Everything depends on this moment. The future depends on this moment. Everything depends on this moment. Thanks, Alan Brothers. And Dan, thank you again for the raid and sticking around. And for anyone who also stuck around, let me know if I lied to you or not. Oh yeah, no problem. Chill mission. Yeah, it's like Maddie, did you come from the raid? Anyone who stuck through the nails and stuff, I appreciate it. I appreciate the trust. Or at least the risk you took. You didn't? Dang. Well, that's okay. Welcome, anyway. And thank you for the claps. Yeah, Andrew York's a strange one. I brought this up yesterday that it's classical music and classical guitar, but it's like very pop sounding. It's very contemporary sounding, but not like wild contemporary classical. There seem to be two large schools of contemporary classical stuff, and he goes way to the pop side of things. The Beatles cover, is it his own arrangement? Because Toru Takemitsu did some Beatles arrangements for guitar, and a lot of people play those. Was it Yesterday, by the way? Like the song Yesterday? That's a really popular one that people do. All right, enjoy the lurk, Dan. And enjoy the food. Penny Lane, nice. Was it on his YouTube channel, I'm assuming? I'll have to check it out. Do I do loops? He's on Spotify, gotcha. I used to, but I still haven't gotten my loop pedal set back up when I got new audio hardware. But I really need to get back into it. In fact, I'd like to almost not even use the loop pedal. I really need to spend more time and get more proficient with using the DAW that I use, Reaper, to do that stuff. I feel like it'd be lead to a lot more possibilities. For you and anyone else who's new, or just anyone, I've more and more changed my focus for streaming, and a lot of it has gone to more just like pure acoustic stuff, classical guitar related, and improvisations as opposed to loops and singing and things like that. Unless we go off on a major tangent, I've made it so that it's almost always just like super chill. Yeah, if you want an idea of some of them, definitely check out the YouTube channel. You'll get a good idea. There's a lot. Okay. Yeah, do exclamation mark YT and it'll show up. So it may not sound like it, but that was actually a piece by a Spanish composer, Enrique Granados, originally for piano, but what's up, Pajama? And did I ever ask? Did I ever do the pronunciation check? I didn't. Telerion is my guess. Hello. Because you've been here before. Yeah, okay. I like saying people's names right, and I also like feeling comfortable about saying a person's name. And I know I'm not the only one, because my name that I use here, Schnaff, man, I can sense the discomfort sometimes when people say it and they're not sure about how to pronounce it. I get it a lot. So, hello, Vol. I have something. I have something set up. Maybe I can actually just do it now. It may. Well, I don't know how my voice is doing, but I did some research. I think I mentioned this yesterday, but I'm not sure if you were in the stream at that point. I wanted to. I realized I hadn't done "O Come, Emmanuel" in a while, so I looked up the words, and I found something that I wasn't expecting. And so I found some resources online to try to do this the best I can. Let's see if I can do this. La 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 la. All right, warmed up. Oh man, actually I'm curious. Let's do the test. Okay.
Veni, Emmanuel, captivum solve Israel, qui gemit in exilio, privatus Dei filio, gauder, gauder, Emmanuel, nascetur pro te Israel. Veni, o Iese virgula, ex hostis tuos ungula, de specu tuos tartari, educet antro baratri, gauder, gauder, Emmanuel, nascetur pro te Israel. Veni, veni, o oriens, solare nos adveniens, noctis de pella nebulas, dirasque noctis tenebras, gaude, gaude, Emmanuel, nascetur pro te Israel. Veni, clavista vidica, regnare clude celica, faciter tutem superum, et clauda via inferum. Gaude, gaude, Emmanuel, nascetur pro te Israel. Veni, veni Adonai, qui populo in Sinai, legem dedisti vertice, in majestate gloriae. Gaude, gaude, Emmanuel, nascetur pro te Israel.
So I was looking for the words, which I only thought were. I thought it was. I was looking for the words that I'd always seen in English, and Latin came up, and I was like, "What?" And so I looked in more into the song, and I guess it's way older than I thought, and originally in Latin. And from what I saw, originated from France, but still in Latin. Also, thank you for the claps. But I don't know how to pronounce things in Latin, so I had to look up guides on not spoken Latin pronunciation, but specifically church pronunciations of like liturgical or ecclesiastical, whatever word you want to use. I think it was like okay for the most part. The rules seem to be quite straightforward, so as long as the rules are straightforward, I think it was like okay. You feel good while listening? That's good. That's good. Also, I am tuned to 440 hertz, so hello, Jags. I've always liked things in Latin. A lot of times words in English can feel like corny to me. And that's totally just my, like my perception of it. It doesn't mean it's actually corny. Whether it's something I write or other people, there's something about, I don't know. So when you can do something in a different language where you're, for me, or in Latin where the words become, the focus naturally becomes more about like the sounds of the words. Even if you know what it means, there's like, I don't know, a percentage, at least for me, a percentage of my focus. There's a higher percentage on the sound because it's not naturally being sort of interpreted as words. Whereas because English is so, spent my whole life just using English as a language, that a huge part of that is just so automatic, and a huge part of the focus is on like understanding the words, that it takes away some of the attention from like the sound. You have that for Dutch. Yeah, it seems to be totally based on the context of each person, what they're it's not about the language itself, it's about the listener's perspective, and is it different for them? And if it's different, there seems to be something. Yeah, I like that. There's like this different poetic touch to it, as Maddie said. But you're not a native. What's your native language? So I'm gonna mute this while the dog barks. Thanks, Smokerman, and welcome to the stream. Also, 440 hertz. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. I appreciate that very much. That's one of the best ways to help support me or really any other streamer. This sounds so dramatic. What's up, DeWalsh? Nice to see you. Nice to see you around these parts. It sounds dramatic. You want to hear something even more dramatic? It's a different type of drama, but even more dramatic. That's right. More dramatic. Ready? I've heard of Classicaloid, yeah. Hey, Cake. Also, welcome, Starman. Well, what I was actually playing when you came in was actually technically a medieval, a traditional Christian medieval hymn. A lot of medieval music. It can be difficult. It can be difficult to find arrangements, transcriptions, and even things that like kind of work well, at least on the instruments that I know. In terms of vocal stuff, they're great, but a much larger percentage of things that I'm familiar with that are still really old, although not as old as medieval stuff, are Renaissance pieces. There's quite a few, of from relatively different times and places and styles, which people end up thinking is medieval music anyway. Is it just era without the S? Like, here's some Spanish Renaissance instrumental music. It's really tough to say, Maddie. They all have such a different vibe. And if you look at the command, look at how big these, look at how like long these eras spanned. So, and there were different locations within different parts of these eras, and different composers from these different places in different pieces and styles and sort of places in the composer's development within all these different composers. So there's a wild amount of variation. There are some generalizations I think I can make. Something like it tends to be that once you get into jazz would be around the turn of the 20th century up until now. But jazz has a ton of different sub-eras, I guess you could say. From the more straightforward, like, big band and swing stuff to, well, what we see now. As I start to go farther back, I feel like I tend to be more easily transported. Where, like, this disconnect in the music, like, helps me, it's hard to explain. Like, the music really starts to feel as sort of like as old as it is. And it sort of distracts me in the best sense of the word, in a different way than something contemporary. Once you get into some Baroque stuff, I start to not feel that same thing. But I think, regardless of how well or not I just explained that, I think you all maybe understand. At least to a certain degree. Like, where if I play this, does this feel, like, wildly foreign in some, like, does it feel like fantasy music? Like it's unreal, almost? Okay, let me, like, play that. Let's take that versus this. And you could maybe say they could both transport a person. But I'm tempted to say, certainly for me, but I'm tempted to say for everyone else too, because we've all been born in a relatively small period of time, at least in relation to these time periods we're talking about, that this probably won't do the same thing. It won't elicit the same thoughts. This is something written like within the past 15 years, so. So I'd imagine, regardless of whether someone liked or disliked either one of those, or even if there was, maybe they were both relaxing or something. Hello, Rage Quit. Welcome. That there'd still be something different about them. I need to, like, warm up my hands a tiny bit. They're still really cold, and I'm going to stretch them a bit. I was going to kind of do this anyway, so I'm going to try to combine these two things. I'll show you another example of something I physically can't do myself, so we'll look at, God, this is one of my favorites. So if we look at Palestrina, born in 1525, died in 1594, and we listened to some of this. This for me has a different type of ability to transport. Look at this guy. One second. Maybe I'm not familiar with that. I don't think. Puzzle gamer. Egyptian music specifically? Not really. Let me give you something to actually look at, I guess. Kenny Loggins? Okay, yeah, I'm not. The modern setting and outfits tend to disrupt a bit of that transportation to the past or somewhere different, but if you have headphones with your eyes closed, that'll give you the strongest sort of. It'll transport you the farthest, you can say. This is Voces 8. This music, I think this is important. Regardless of your religious beliefs or affiliations and stuff, it should be understood the attempt to make something above human, something superhuman, something divine. And to me, it often does that sort of thing where it's like, I don't know, it's like the sound of angels. If I were to imagine them singing. I would actually use a lot of this style of music influences a lot of improvisations that I do, and when I used to do a lot of looping, it would have strong influences on that. The staggering of entrances of Oh, jeez. Voices and also sometimes these really simple 4 or 5 note scales. One of the classic ones, you know, I noticed Claire using was when doing Superman. There was Superman, and just something like this. I mean, that's like, it's so simple, but it's so this type of music. Like, watch. I'll just. Sikut. Oh, you guys weren't watching. Whatever. So if I were to do something like this. I don't feel like doing. I'll do it like this. or something. Maybe Ajax. It's hard for me to say. The baby of your old music teacher in school is in that group. Oh, man. That's pretty cool, though. Shinda, hello. So, yeah. I'm grabbing something here. So that type of stuff for me, I don't know, there's something super special about it. Very unique. I'm gonna try to play some stuff. This is mid. This is right in the middle of the Renaissance. It's some Spanish instrumental music. That's okay, Maddie. Thank you for being here. This is your first time here, right? No? Yes? I'm actually looking now. Oh no, I guess not. I guess not. Was it just the first time you had a message in chat? I just think I remember seeing that, but yeah, hopefully we'll see you back soon. I think I'm actually going to be off tomorrow, even though it's on the schedule, but. No. Oops. But this had a lot of these scales, even from the beginning. What's up, Redbeard? And like, I feel like they're so simple sometimes, but they work really well. There's just something effective about separating separating voices in this way. Yeah, it has been a little bit, Redbeard, but hopefully you've been well. Also, oh, there was who said it? It was Puzzle Gamer. Okay, it says, I guess because I have an untrained ear, it just sounds like random notes. It is very difficult to pick out, you know, if you're listening to this. There are a lot of different things you're hearing at once. But in context to what was happening before, it is like quite a bit more and quite complicated, you could say. Like if we actually look at the music, you know, the structure, it is meant to, there's a lot of imitation, there's a lot of things blending and tying over each other. It's very difficult. It can be very difficult to hear. So I'll show you. I think this is actually the recording that we just heard, but just with the music put in front of it. Okay, so whether you can read music or not, if you look at if you just look at the patterns, these actually start out basically the same way. This chunk here and then this chunk here are the same, and then these two like copy each other. Those are just a bunch of scales to separate the voice, like. One of the things you can try to do is follow just one voice, because it's very difficult to follow all of them at once, especially when there's 8 at one time. Like right now. They definitely jump around, but it's certainly not random, but I think I know what you mean, that it can be quite chaotic, but that's the whole thing. So if you want to create separation between things, having things start and stop at different times is obviously a good way to do it. So oftentimes when one thing is moving and another one stays still, you're able to have them be separated easily by your ear. So your ear for that little bit got a whole bunch of just notes moving fast, but they were jumping from one voice to the other. First up here, and then down here, and then there, and then here, and then kind of there. Yeah, and so it sounds like this. And so though each part was relatively straightforward, the whole thing becomes this like woven tapestry of sound. And also, if you become more familiar with the style and these cadences that are oh so important, like we just heard, it'll start to more clearly define the sections of the piece. Like there's one coming up right here. Where actually I paused it right in the middle of it. So that was one. So the new section, the little. Another cadence. Another cadence coming up. Another little cadence. 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 These sounds rather Christian. Well, yeah, this is like this is sacred vocal music as opposed to secular, so non-religious. But it'd be like what you're hearing are these series of if I did this. And like that's a little section, so if we go like let me actually try to make, let me see if I can make it slower and simpler. So that's like one little chunk. That would be another one. That. That could be a little thing, like that's a... Daedalus, thank you for the 19-month resub. How's it going? That could be a little chunk. That could be another one. That could be another one. That could be another one. That could be another. So these things are like happening all over the place. Returning to cadences. Well, they're huge in this music. It's just like, it'd be like, I can imagine people maybe hundreds of years in the future looking back at pop music today and being, maybe they're like, there's a lot of production that goes on in pop music. And it may seem crazy to people in the future in some way, but I'd imagine they're going to be like, well, this was a really big, important part of the music. And they're going to do something like this. I'm pretty sure they're going to go like... like, look at how it all like it was there was gonna be based around like 4 chords or something. Really, something like that, and that'll be pointed out as sound modern like that. There's a slow, very gradual change. Again, if we bring this back up, if it's starting 500 AD, we have about 1,500 years of progress taking place. And it seems to accelerate, but there are moments of touching upon things that will become normal in the future. One of my favorite examples is by one of my favorite composers too, who was a Renaissance composer and like super music genius. Part of this is gonna, at one point towards the end, it's gonna all of a sudden just be, it's gonna jump like 500 years into the future and just become pop music. Quite a thing, I guess so. I don't know. That's. That was very pop. Français, tu parles français ou pas? It's like bonsoir, and bonjour put together. If we look at this old part here, also let's take a look at Joe Scan. Look at this guy. That's what's happening at the. If I just played it on piano, so instead of if I just play this on a piano, because we have to realize that also Billy, if you love Joscan, you should enjoy the stream. On piano it sounds pop. Yeah, I'm just playing the same thing. So we have to, this is something I was talking to a friend about, why people don't like classical music a lot of the time. And I think there's a barrier, or like what makes classical music different? The most common thing is classical music is complex and pop music is simple, and it's literally not true. It's just like that's not how it is. It's way more complicated than that. But one of the things is just the instrumentation or texture and just like aesthetic. So I can take the same notes. It's no more simple or complex, but just by putting it on a piano instead of hearing what you just heard with the voices, and I go, whoops. Stop. And now if I repeat that, can't say long. Okay. Well, I appreciate you stopping by and saying, hey, also make sure to follow so you know when the stream is back. Now if I just if I change the rhythm a bit, still the same chords. And I don't know, maybe I wouldn't know the like words, but I can make. You followed your. Oh, nice, cool. Like it's gonna start to sound like it's gonna start to sound like pop music. Actually, we could change one of the chords to. No, wait. That's just taking this chord and making it major, and it kind of. Now, if we change this chord to this, it's no more simple or complex, but now it's. Okay, so this is a half step. This piece we just heard from the 1500s is a half step away from Let It Go. So if instead we just go. That's a cool little thing though there. A little extra. Oh, nice, Billy. How did you wait, did you find the stream while I was streaming yesterday? If you followed yesterday while I was streaming, you just must have not said anything because we get this first time chat from viewer notification, and it looks like your first thing was love Joskin. Oh, well, this chord progression puzzle game is going to be a million songs. So that's like so many songs. So again, this is like sort of all to say that this stuff is just not simple at all. It's just not simple. Speaking of 440 hertz, I'm not sure the guitar is at 440 anymore, but okay, more Spanish Renaissance. Spanish Renaissance secular instrumental music. And speaking of weaving things, I love this cadence and these few measures when it goes. We'll just start here. So what your ear hears is this. But that's actually 3 different voices doing that. This is the top voice. This is the middle voice. And then this is the bottom voice. Because Because the top voice actually goes, which is just a classic like way to have this voice be part of this cadence. And so I can try to separate these things to make them stick out as different voices. Torio, thank you for the 20-month resub with Prime Gaming. Whoops. This is actually. All this happening together. Sir, better. This is actually a similar move. It goes, but you hear. This is not something I really practice. I'm just kind of reading it, but it gives you that. It has those same qualities of like a huge focus on weaving different voices together. if they were putting it, I doubt it's a conscious thing. Like, oh, I'm gonna, quote this thing from a Pavane by Luis Milan. Like, it's probably more that it's a characteristic of the music, or something that's just ends up remaining between the musical styles. To give you, hello, Fat Cheese. Welcome. There's going to be almost no weaving at all. Listen to how this is going to be just a melody. That's what's going to move. There's going to be an accompaniment behind it. Something like... It's going to kind of sound like that. Hey, Asamiya. So, this is going to be very different. I could do a little green sleeves thing. Probably. Fat cheese. Let's see. Nothing that's going to magically change anything right away. It may not be the tips you're... These are not the tips you're looking for. Just read as much as possible. It just takes a lot of time. Okay, so that's number one. But the second major thing... may not make sense at first, but I promise you it's true. It's the more ear training, sight singing, and music theory you're able to absorb and learn, the easier it's going to be. Because the way you read music is just like the way you read words. At first, you have to look at each letter individually and sound things out, but, when I read any tips for reading guitar sheet music, my eyes kind of see the whole thing at once. And when you read that, you don't think A-N-Y, any, okay, space T-I-P, tips for... And you don't even just read any tips for reading guitar sheet music. You, instantly know... You go from, what you see to just, this idea that is you asking me for help with reading sheet music on this instrument. So any tips for reading guitar sheet music? And so if you want your reading to be that fluent on an instrument, you're going to have to go through the same things you do for a language. So you're going to have to learn the alphabet. You're going to have to learn the sounds that the letters make, the sounds that the notes make. You're going to have to learn how things are structured. Essentially learn rules of musical grammar, and practice all of it a lot, because it's not easy, and there aren't really any tricks. So chords and treble clef for guitar. Yeah, so for me, the bass clef, it's the opposite because I have very little experience actively reading the bass clef. It wouldn't be automatic for me. And there's no real difference between the two. It's just, like, yeah, the actual notes are different, but it's not even like a different system. So it's just the naming kind of gets switched. It gets shifted over. So if you can read music in the bass clef, it's just a matter of time and practice before you could read notes in the treble clef. Like it's that straightforward. You do have to physically act on it. So I was thinking about saying this or not. This is sometimes I hear people, you know what's here? I can give you a tip of what not to do. Don't try to memorize the fretboard like this. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, B flat, B, C, C sharp, D, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G, B, C, C sharp, D, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G, A flat, A. It's totally like useless. That's not, you're not making like the real connections. You, like me being able to do that, or being able to just randomly pick out a note somewhere, like this is F, is not a consequence of me going, saying the notes and da, 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 da. This wasn't the process to get there, it's the result of another process, if that makes sense. So it's like the opposite. You have to look at the notes, and it'll happen. Like if you see enough E's here, and you do this enough, your brain will go, oh, the next time you see that, you're gonna put your finger here and play this. And you'll learn that this is E through that physical process. Like Puzzle Gamer saying physically acting on it. But like, we don't learn languages and we don't learn music in a vacuum like this. So it's you're not gonna do anything by, I'm just gonna like memorize the fretboard. It's not gonna, there's no point. It's a, like, maybe it could do something. I'm sure it won't make you worse, but there'd be a million other ways to spend your time in a better way. So just try to read as much as possible, I guess. To get a book and start reading. Yeah, just read as much as. And then there's the actual practice of sight reading. So it's like, once you start memorizing something, you're not really sight reading anymore. And you're working, your brain starts reinforcing a different skill. because standard notation is standard notation, you can grab a whole lot of stuff. Like one of my favorite things is this, and I had a feeling that was gonna happen. It's gonna happen. This is a book of violin music, but I can still read it. It's just gonna sound, the notes are gonna be an octave lower. But I can still just read the notes. So there are different ways of learning, playing, and processing music. So you could have someone, so the one who cannot read any music notation, you could call musically illiterate. In the same way a person can be fluent in a language, they could even be a poet, but if they don't know how to read or write, they're technically illiterate. So it's like, you can like get away with that. The thing is, your brain is gonna find, whether you like it or not, you should like it, that your brain is gonna find patterns with what it hears. And so there's a couple things here. There's a difference between a conscious learning of a particular system and then like the purely subconscious learning. So it's why there tends to be almost, there's two things that happen that I am not a fan of. The over romanticizing of not knowing music theory. It tends to come along with this like, oh, I'm free from the shackles of this system that holds back my creativity. And they do this. It's like, what do you think, you just freely made that up in a vacuum? You just played a 1 chord, a 5 chord, and a 6 chord in D major. You just didn't know it. There's no freedom from it. Intuiting of a system, exactly. Also, hey, Wolfreak. So you're not freeing yourself of anything. That needs to be combined with the other thing that I strongly disagree with and am not a fan of, that I talk about a lot, is that you then can't just go, okay, then if I learn these rules, this system, if I consciously become aware of it, then all of a sudden I will gain this supreme power. And if I follow these rules, I will write the most amazing music. And there's a couple things wrong with that. One is that if you want to make any use of it, you're going to have to understand it, practice it, and absorb it to such a degree that it happens subconsciously. You need to let it subconsciously guide you. If not, you're almost doing exercises. And I said something before that I liked, and it's like, if music theory rules made the best music, if following music theory rules made the best music, then the best music would be found as exercises in our workbooks. But we know that's not the case, because that's not how any of this works. It needs to be so ingrained and natural that it becomes intuitive and guides your ear and your thoughts and even the creative things. Like, it has to have an effect on your creativity. And that takes a while to do that. And so one of the sort of pitfalls of this all too common misunderstanding, as I see it, I get a little upset by this because this misunderstanding doesn't do anything to me. I don't care. But it only hurts other people. It's that they, you can go like, oh, this seventh, this flat 7 needs to resolve inward. And this third, this major third needs to resolve upward by step. And so if I just play something and go, there we go, good music comes out of it. It's like, no, it's not bad music. It's not good. It's just like, that's not how any of this works. What should really be the case, the most practical application of this, is that if you were to play this, that your ear would automatically be able to identify dum dum and da da. And if you wanted to do that, you would be able to. But it would be nice and more beneficial if you really want to be freed and be able to create as many things as possible. If you were able to do this. If you wanted to. Maybe you could go da, da, da. But wait, I didn't follow the rules. You kind of did. There's other rules. And here we can do it. You need to know what you want to be able to pick from it, to quote our favorite, Jacob Collier. In order for less to be more, you've got to know what more is. And then you can choose to do less. But it's the idea of control, as opposed to, if you don't have any control, well, yeah, you're totally not free. And if you follow these rules, and these rules are just absolutely guiding you with the inability to use them to your advantage, then you're also not in control. You're just like, I played this, I gotta do this thing. It's like, because you can also use this to do something totally different from the rules. I know what these things are gonna sound like when I do this, but this doesn't fall. I didn't do that because of a rule. I went from, and I knew what I was doing. So we went from B minor to D major, and I could add in something different if I wanted to. And so, like, I can tell you the chords and I can tell you the names of the notes and I can maybe give you a reason why something may go somewhere else. But I wasn't playing that because I thought those things were supposed to go to those different places. If that makes sense. Whenever I play a particular thing, I'm not stuck. The rules don't lock me into place. Because they're not rules. Rules it's really a bad word. Framework. It's just framework. And so if you could hear everything, you know, if you are like Jacob Collier, which there are other people, it's quite rare, but that level of you know, he had training from a young age, but his thing is like sometimes he's like, you don't need the theory because you can just listen and just do what your ear tells you, and it's like, Jacob, not everyone can intuitively get a seemingly complete understanding and have an ultra super detailed framework intuitively built up. Most people don't do that. Just like we were saying before, it's like I've heard him say it, Jacob, he learned this stuff just by listening to music. But when most people like listen to this stuff, they're like, blah, 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 blah. Yet through I'm sure a combination of genetics and training and a few other factors, you know, he's someone who's able to actually make a detailed image and understanding of what's going on. And if you can do, and like, so you can do that, and that's essentially learning the theory. It's just not a, he just wasn't going to school for it. But it's the same, you end up with the same result. To form the big picture, so it's both. And it's not even just those two, there's all sorts of things. So if I were to, you know, if I'm gonna go back and do this thing right here that we did, I can start, it also helps with memory too. Imagine, has anyone, if you've ever tried to speak back something in your native language or a language you know well, you'll be able to remember more, reproduce it more accurately, and it'll just be easier than if you were given the same information in a different language that you didn't know. Your brain is able to, because you're not just, when we hear things, we don't just hear sounds. Our brain tries to make sense of it. For example, if I had you memorize these numbers, ready? I'm going to give you a string of numbers. I'm going to give you 2 sets. Here's the first one. Let me see if there's actually a way I can do this so I can remember. This is totally unnecessary to do it this way. Well, you know what? Doesn't matter. So here are the string of numbers. I'll give you 20 numbers. 6, 2, 5, 4, 1, 0, 9, 8, 7, 8, 1, 6, 5, 5, 4, 5, 9, 1, 2, 8, 3, 6, 7, 2, 1, 0, 1, 8, 9, 0. Okay, so that's 30 numbers. Is anyone confident they can give back those series of numbers without going back in the VOD? Now, what if I give you these 30 numbers? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 20. Actually, you know what would be a better way to do this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Does anyone think they can give back that string of numbers? I stopped the initial thing because I realized I was even using more numbers. Although that'd almost be better, because now it should be more complex. Welcome back again, Baz. Yeah, definitely string up that guitar. So one of them, there was a pattern to it. It wasn't just a series of numbers. And the pattern was count up to 9 and then go backwards from 9. And then go up to 9 and back from 9. And because if you're able to extract out that pattern, you're able to recall the information quickly and more efficiently. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing here. And because I've done some of this work, I can go back and I remember that I played B minor and then D major. And then I played this F sharp minor chord in first inversion. And then did this suspension. And then played this F sharp major chord. And had that jump up to a B flat major 7 chord. And then played this B, we could call it, I'm gonna say there's a sharp 11. And so as I'm playing about this and thinking about it, I'm simultaneously thinking about, on the small scale, each of the individual notes. D, F sharp, A, D, F sharp, A. C sharp, F sharp, G sharp. Technically E sharp. G sharp, A sharp, F sharp, C sharp, A sharp, F sharp. And thinking about those notes, thinking about the chords in relation to each other. B minor and its relative major. In the key of F sharp minor, it's 4, 6, 1, 6, 4 with a suspension, a 4, 3 suspension. Lower the 7 to play the 1 chord, but now it's major. And then we jump up a major 3rd and play that chord, and so this is that's called a chromatic mediant when you make this move. And so that's all happening simultaneously. And maybe you have other ways of thinking about it. Maybe you do this. And you relate it to some other music. Maybe it sounds like this to you. And so maybe you hear this, and you go like, oh, that sounds like Radiohead.
You were here before. Couldn't look you in the eyes. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry.
Or something like that. I haven't done it in a while.
You float like a feather.
But I'm thinking about this as I can frame this in different ways depending on the context. So we can go like 1, 5 of 6, but then 4, and then a minor 4, and we can think of this B minor 6 chord. It could also be a 2 half diminished chord, and back to 1, and that could also be a plagal cadence. Hey Dimples. Or you could go in terms of the half diminished chord, I mean, you kind of could, because, well, this is what so there's some other things within this. It's the notes B, D, F sharp, G sharp. But you could think about this as, well, I guess it wouldn't be a... You're gonna have to think about what, so an augmented chord is gonna have the 5th of the chord raised a half step. And the person hearing it is going to have a tendency to want that to continue to move up. So how can you do that and have it fit with leading back to this, if this is your goal? So instead, I mean, it would literally just be a different thing. You could play this chord. This is C sharp augmented. Like C sharp 7 augmented, or you could just call it an altered chord with the 5th scale degree raised. And so Dimple's change would be taking this bass note and dropping it down a half step. To me, it ends up sounding like it is already almost resolved, like we're back at this chord. So if I went... Actually, this sounds to me like I want to go... So that's where, that can almost be one of the things where it's like, you can sometimes try to do that and play around with patterns or play around with this sort of system and framework you've developed and see what you can do with it. But the absolute reliance on it in a vacuum, maybe you could say, is not in and of itself like control and creativity. And that's not what's happening when I play music. It's not what's happening when I'm improvising or reading or listening or anything. That's not what it is. Songs about breakups? Actually, yes, a bunch of them. There's one other thing though that's really important. Because Pimflet said, I thought music is supposed to be about emotions. What's interesting is that you can then add the emotional things into this framework. Like, this framework is not devoid of emotions. Like, that wouldn't be the most useful, that wouldn't be a very useful framework for music. And if we go back to Jacob, his mother had him, in order to like develop this very intimate and detailed and deep connection with music, he said before that she didn't have him go like, what does this note sound like? It was, Jacob, how does this note feel? So like, what does the note feel like? What does the chord feel like? What does the interval feel like? What is the progression? What does the change feel like? So like, you need to know how to identify it so you can reproduce it, but you also want to know when to use it. So it's like, what does this sound like? Like, it's not sufficient to go, it's a D minor chord moving to an F minor chord. And it's not sufficient to go, it's a chromatic mediant, like I mentioned before, with another set of two chords. For me, there's something that I have to know and connect with this, that in this context, there's something dark and sort of sinister. Corey Henry talk about this. Chord scales, rudiments, theory knowledge, all this other tools. Yeah, tools, framework. I don't even like tools. I really just like framework. It's just framework. Like, it's just a way of understanding. Just like you can't take words, no rules of grammar, and just throw words that fit. You can't be like, I'm gonna take a noun. That's gonna be the subject, and then I'm gonna take a verb. Let me just pick a verb. Okay, that verb fits here. And then I'm going to take another noun and have that be like the object of the verb. Like, you can't do that. Even if it fits all the rules, it'll be like, okay, what was the point of you saying that? Yeah, that sentence worked. Great. You know, you speak English. Like, what did you do with it? What the hell was the point? Was the point to just learn or make sure you know the language? Well, if you're in school or you're learning or something, then actually good. Unironically, like, good. Okay, now that you know, what are you going to do with it? And if you continue to follow the rules like you learn them, like if your process for creating music is exactly the same as how you learned the rules, then you're just going to produce just more exercises. Like, you're not gonna do anything with it. Like, it's not, it's not gonna do anything. What's the point? Planks discuss a speaker. Boom, there you go. But you can even, I could even be like, cause that like works, in terms of it follows rules of grammar and stuff. But you can actually have something that really makes sense or whatever, but it's like, you're trying to write a song and it's like,
I ate an apple. It tasted good. left part of it around the core. Perhaps I could have eaten more of it, but I didn't. I was quite satisfied, so I threw it away.
And it's like, all of that made sense. It conveys something, but it's like, why did you just say that out loud to us? Like, what the hell was the point? What was your expectation? What did you expect people to think? Or feel? Anything. No one cares about your apple. What a boring, like, what the hell? Like, what the... Perfect. You didn't break any rules. You didn't break any rules of the language. But you also did nothing, like, poetic or music, like, great. Well, that would almost be different if someone was like, ugh. I'm gonna justify my lack of creativity and effort by just saying this subpar nonsense is actually just so sophisticated and avant-garde and abstract that you just don't understand it, and it means this thing that it actually doesn't, and the goal I intend to have actually doesn't work, so I actually failed even according to my own standards, but I'm going to justify it again because I don't want to think or put in any work or practice. Sometimes nonsense subjects. Well, we have to look at, you'd have to look at why the song is good or why you enjoy it. You know, I like a lot of songs by Nirvana. As far as I can tell, in a whole bunch of their songs, the words didn't make any sense. But that's not what I was trying to do. I wasn't like,
Yes, yes, okay, yes, let me analyze, yes. In bloom, yes, yeah.
that's not why I liked it. So you don't want to use arguably trivial attributes of something as and give them significant weight as to why something works, doesn't work, has an effect or not, something like that. We talked about this in terms of streaming and getting advice, looking to model yourself after other people and stuff like that. Like, you know, maybe here's a good example. Watch, I'm gonna pull this up. I want to grow as a streamer, okay? I'm gonna look at the biggest stream I can find right now. Okay, XQC, of course.
2 full stacks.
Okay.
Okay, let's get it done.
So what I need to do is I need
Nah, we're
to,
chilling. We got this.
if I want my stream to grow, I need to wear a gray shirt.
We got this.
I need to walk with my
No,
camera.
the choice. Look.
So my
Send me-
camera's
I'm not
steady,
kidding.
his
Otherwise-
isn't, so
Send me-
it needs to be not steady.
Send me. Otherwise, we go against Soda.
If I'm not in a park like this, I'm messing up. It's not helping. He stutters and doesn't articulate his words, so I gotta make sure to I gotta make sure to not articulate my words. Stick at the last, but that,
Yeah.
and then guys, listen, you can't.
Wait, actually not.
You
It's
you
only winners
actually
versus
can't
losers.
do that. It actually doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't do that.
Oh no, winners can still choose.
What can't choose? They can't choose. Like, and you'd be like, Shanav, what the hell are you talking about? That's not why he's popular. Like, what? But that's what I'm looking at. And so it's like, oh, I was picking out the things that didn't matter. They're true, like they describe it, but they weren't the important things. It's more like XQC has an insane amount of energy, whether you like it or not, a whole bunch of charisma. He also was one of the best Overwatch players in the world. Hello, Karina. And Nova, thank you for the 22-month resub. I like how you said 2 months instead of 22 months. It's all right, you didn't. Thank you for the 22-month resub. But or you could be like, you need an accent, but there's other people with accents that have streams smaller than me. So it's like, that can't be it. It's like, oh, 2 more months until it becomes 2 years. Gotcha. I see. But yeah, so if you pick out things that are true, they're like factually true and accurate, and you use that to make your model of what you think is important, but those things aren't important, then you're going to be led astray. And that can happen perhaps more often than someone thinks. Favorite meal? Oh, I don't know. I'm terrible with favorites. I like anything that tastes good. How's that for a lame answer? These kind of things can happen. If only I do this, or this is my favorite person, and they do this, or they do this thing this way, and if I do it I don't do it that way. But I got to do it this way because they do it, and that's gonna make things good. That's how I'll be good. And if you don't do it like that, if you don't do it exactly like them, then you're not gonna be good, or it's not gonna be good. All this stuff, it's like, that's not how this works. You have to extract out the core principles that actually matter. Also, what the hell is that? Oh, Twitch Rivals event? Because it's like, there are a whole bunch of huge streamers all in this one area right now. Yep, Korean, you just gotta learn everything, forehead. So we have to look at these things again, and then go like, if you want to have a certain effect, you don't try to categorize things in terms of good or bad. There is no concept that's like good or bad. It's just, there's like 2 steps. It's how is it likely to make a person feel? Like, what's the likely effect? We can even make it more general. What's the effect that's most likely to happen? And is that what you want to happen? And so you can reframe, is this chord good or bad? As you can reframe it as, it is very likely to give the effect that I want to give. And that can be good. Or the same thing, if you're going for something else, can be very likely that it will not have the effect that you'd like to have, in which case it would be bad, or better, just not as useful. So if I wanted to make a song that's happy and elicits just the nicest, just most carefree feelings in a person, and I go like, okay, so it's gonna sound like this. It's like, were those bad chords that I played, or are they just not good for what I wanted to do? Be like, you didn't play good chords. These are good chords. C over D minor flat 9 flat 13 diminished 7. That's right, Dylan. That's right. These are D. It's got it. But then you can be like, oh, those second chords you played, those were good. Those were good chords. Those are better. And so now I want to go, what if I want to get across the feeling of complete chaos and destruction is taking place. I want you to be terrified. I want you to be like, oh my god. Let's play the good chords. They're good chords, right? They're good. So we'll do this, and you're gonna be, it's totally gonna fit. Or, hey Bob, or you want someone now to be terrified and you go back to this. And so where does rhythm play a role? Rhythm, tempo, and there's all sorts of things. Orchestration, range, texture, instrumentation, all these things. This one was generally slower. The notes were held out longer. There's almost no rhythm at all, but we could actually add something. We could just, I don't know, do something sort of nice and go like, the tempo was steady, regular, slower, or you could make chaos. Maybe you could have irregular time signatures or something. Or this, where dun, 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 you feel this is the pulse instead of. That should be more chaotic regardless of where you're from, when you were born, who you are, where you're from, what you did. As long as you have ears. You could make something that, speaking of rhythm, you could make something that drives forward. So that was O Come, O Come Emmanuel, but boss battle form. What's up, Nick? You know what this reminds me a lot? I love this music. I'm gonna show you something from a video game. Except that's not the key it's in, is it? Right? Dun, dun, dun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Dun, 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 dun. So if you take this rhythm, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, You can maybe get an idea that this is probably not the music on the starting world where you're on your nice island at home on the beach. And perhaps it's the last world in the game. Like, what's the wonder of that chord? What is this 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2? 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 So it's in like 10 8. It's eighth notes that are grouped, or 16th notes, whatever, you know, whatever it ends up looking like. Yeah, you can think about it like that. 5 4 1. Dun 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 dun. 2 3 1. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. But they tend to fit these groups of dun 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 dun. Remember, in terms of a driving force. And when that melody comes through, why is it like Although I think it goes. So this gives like this is great in terms of that, and you know, as opposed to the Traverse Town theme, which is the first place you go outside of your normal world, and it's or even Destiny. Just go to Destiny Island. So there's like a stark contrast between those two, and it's so. Do you want people to feel like they're on a beach on an island? Do you want them to feel comfortable, playful, fun, move around, or do you want them to feel like something epic is about to happen, and there's a lot of tension, and there's something epic and final. And this uses like one of the classic. I mean, it didn't quite do it, but like this, there's just something epic about this. They kind of. This is the theme music from Hollow Bastion. So in Kingdom Hearts, for those who don't know, Kingdom Hearts, you travel between different worlds, looking for your friends and all this stuff. I won't give away the story because even if I try to, you'd still be like, what? Because no one understands it. Not even me. It's a story that cannot be understood. People who wrote it don't understand what happens in the game. Hollow Bastion is the last place you go. It also reminds me of ready? Not this part, but when it gets darker. Ready? This is a little too fun, a little too right, but That is Hollow Bastion. Or I should say Hollow Bastion is the Blue Rondo a la Turk. Because that's... Listen to the strings. Is big. You know. Like this almost sounds like boss music. What are they? Something like that. But there's something chromatic using, and that adds tension to it too. So these are this is more of how these principles actually work. Like we were talking about the difference between classical and pop music. Classical is complex. Pop is boring. Classical is stiff and old and serious. And pop is new and fun and cool. And it's like, oh, is that great? That's a really good description. Like, great. It's like, what's the difference between pizza and a salad? Pizza's hot and salads are cold. It's like, okay. Pizza tastes good and salads are not good. It's like, okay. That's your, all right. Can we get someone, anybody else? Anybody else have a description of this food? Did someone already say the pizza's hot? Like, yeah, and that salad's cold. It's like, so I slightly felt some Norm Macdonald coming in there, like, yeah, the pizza's hot, and the salad is cold. Well, that's one of the things. For one, it's like, not only is that really superficial and doesn't say so much. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's like tends to be true. But there's also pizza that can be cold, and different salads that aren't necessarily, like, actually like lettuce based or something that can be hot. I don't know. Have I ever had a hot salad? So it's like, is that really a description? It's like, can we get a little more into, like, can we get a better understanding of what's going on here? Because that's not going to help anything. Because then someone can make soup. Just have a bowl of soup, and it's like, here's your pizza. It's like, this isn't pizza. It's like, what are you talking about? It's hot. Pizza's hot. It's like, no. Hot isn't what makes pizza pizza. It's like, exactly. 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 Exactly.
So in 3, 2, 1. All right, so I'm Author Blues.
I'm
64 randomizer, pop off.
exactly. And that's what's so important.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Another thing to keep in mind too with this randomizer is exactly.
Really quickly.
Exactly.
Really cool.
Exactly.
So you-
Exactly.
This is a great-
Definitely. Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
so-
Exactly. You have to really scan every corner. Definitely. Exactly.
and,
Exactly.
um,
Exactly.
or,
Exactly.
um,
Exactly.
Is that-
Exactly.
And that's really how this ends up.
Exactly.
Yeah, that cage-
Oh,
so-
definitely.
Okay, so-
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So it would that as
Exactly.
But, like,
I think
and so
exactly
there in the middle.
Exactly.
Exactly. But
Definitely.
you know
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
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 And so
Exactly.
Stain,
Yes.
right?
Exactly.
You get-
exactly. As you're
Absolutely.
collecting.
He says,
Exactly.
"Sorry, I'm out."
Yes. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
caverns,
Exactly.
and even then, caverns on there that it almost doesn't.
Right. Exactly.
Well, so
Exactly.
screw it. I'm jumping off the side.
Exactly.
Into the game.
Exactly.
There's maybe not. I mean,
Exactly.
absolutely. Yeah, he's not going to jump out for that.
Exactly. Yeah. Would you like to say anything?
But one of the neat things,
Oh, it's huge. Definitely.
which is exactly what you need.
You definitely need to.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
I'm so confused.
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's typically what pops into my head when I hear or use the word exactly. I get to run for a minute. I'm gonna come back and play some more music. We'll head out. I probably can't go for too much longer, but just give me a couple minutes. Okay. Time to wind down a bit. Actually, you know what? Just a second to link us. Speaking of Kingdom Hearts, I'll play a couple Kingdom Hearts things on the piano.
What about some video game music on the guitar? So I guess that was actually 3 different Japanese video game composers. And Svein, if you want to play Kingdom Hearts for the music, then you should also check out Super Mario RPG for the Super Nintendo if you haven't already played it, because it's the same composer. Man, Super Mario RPG had one of the best video game songs ever. This game is just so good, too. Scott, Vol's favorite. Okay, well, all right. I'm so bad at keeping stuff like this going. But there. This part's cool. See, this, you don't need to know this, and this doesn't make it good or bad, but being able to frame this and hearing this, playing this by ear, like yeah, I heard it when I was a kid, but like I've never practiced this. But just hearing and recognizing this is, kind of Spanish, not actually, but like Phrygian. Okay, I'm going to, I gotta head out and eat something. So I'm gonna play the ending song. Before I do that, a daily reminder. If you weren't here yesterday, or you didn't see, or you didn't hear, I made a TikTok account, and I spent hours and hours and hours after stream. I was up way too late, checking it out more, seeing what people are posting on it, seeing what you have as a person creating stuff. There's so many options and things you can do. And then there's still just the YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. Checking that stuff out, following there, sharing those things, all the fun stuff that you make fun of people for saying, like, subscribe, share, all that stuff, follow. There's a reason people say it, because it's important, and it would help out a lot. Because there's that type of support. There's also financial support. So if anyone's new here and enjoyed the stream, or if you're not new and you just and you haven't subbed and you are able to, I would greatly appreciate that. Because at the moment, it's this is listener supported radio, brought to you by viewers like you. And the more people who are able to help contribute, the less weight is put on everyone else's shoulders. And it would just help me out a lot, getting to the place where I can support myself doing this. Because at the moment, that is not the reality. And, yeah. So if anyone has the ability to just... So it's only $5. It's kind of a joke. It's a reference to another video. Never mind. Why did he say that like that? Yeah. Again, if you can't, following and stuff is free. Sharing the stream. Sharing the stream, sharing the other stuff on social media is super helpful. I won't be able to do this without you guys. That's just... I mean that in a very literal way. It's not like, I don't know what I'd do without you. It's like, I literally need your help. So, that's just... yeah. And speaking of free stuff, maybe you don't feel, you're like, I hate social media, I don't even have any accounts, or maybe you're like, screw you, I don't want to do that. Another way you can help is if you join along in the chant, because the hearts are not just for me, or at least they shouldn't be just for me. They should be for everybody. Which is why if I can click in time, I join in the chant too. Which chant? This one. watching myself in OBS for a second. Really struggling to separate the fingers. All right, now's not the time for that. Now's the time to go through my obnoxiously long list of people I'm following to find someone to raid. Thank you for all the hearts. See you on Sunday. Yeah, I will not be here. I know it says it on the schedule that I'll be here tomorrow, but I won't in all likeliness. So the next time I'm back should be Sunday. I'll put a message in Discord, so join Discord, and I'll give a reminder on Twitter too, so make sure you're following there. I don't want people coming to me going, "Yo, I was here. I didn't know you weren't gonna stream. I was waiting. My life depended on it. Why didn't you tell me?" There's so many people that stream on Twitch. So many people that stream on Twitch. I still am I the only person? Is anyone else not able to see the uptime for streams like in this view? There's normally like the time is put here. I went through all the FrankerFace Z settings yesterday, and it says it's supposed to be showing it, but I can't see anything. It's like it helps out a whole bunch to pick someone to raid when you know that and you're able to see. It's gone for you too? Okay, so it's not just me, because that's important, because if it's gone for everyone, then I'm not going to keep going through settings and resetting things. Like, I'm just not going to do that. Wait, you can see it on your PC, but not on your phone? Or the opposite, actually. Oops, I'm still not used to the phone. Curious. Okay, I can't see it on either. I don't know if I've ever seen it on my phone. I think it's like too small to see, but not on your phone. On phone it doesn't show? Yeah, I don't know if it ever shows on the phone. But you guys can see. Damn it. Wait. So you guys can see if you're just like in a browser, you're here, you see the time? You see the time right here? Why isn't what? Right. Damn it. Wow, that's a really low viewer count. No, it's the same as... Oh, it is the same for you. Okay. Kazi, thank you for the 200 bits. I guess I don't know what to expect. Or I guess I shouldn't expect... I don't know what else I should expect. Like, we did a lot of talking about stuff, which I hope you guys like. It always, man, it really hurts the stream. Hello, Henrik. I'm literally just about to head out, but if you want to join us in a raid. All right, if I keep looking at this number, I'm gonna get depressed. All right. What is going on here? Ghostbusters. Okay, Insomniac is freestyling over 90s television.
So look, y'all, here it comes.
That's the thing. I wish, because I like the tangents. I think it's important to talk about. I think it's enjoyable to talk about. I hope it is for you guys too, but boy does it hurt. It really, I really take a hit every time I do it. Like, gets really bad. So, like, no one else is like talking about this stuff. No one else on the platform. Not a single person. Out of the, like, millions of streamers. Man, now maybe just no one gives a shit. Maybe that's why. Vol, thank you for gifting us up to Henrik. I do appreciate it. Like, goddamn. Jesus. Okay. Insomniac rap. Speaking of... oh, whoops. There's another... $34 viewers. Holy shit. Okay. All right. I'll be back on Sunday. Thank you for those who did stick around. Again, if you know people who would like this sort of thing, please help spread the word. Because if that happens, then I can do more of it. Not only can I feel more comfortable and better doing it, but I can actually just do it and have it be something sustainable. But this, yeah, this hurts a bit. Okay. So let's say hey to Insomniac, and I'll see you guys on Sunday. Take care.